Hello class, my name is Paul Sanford and I would like to go over traditional strategies of organizing. This is a top-down kind of organization where everything flows from the CEO down to the bottom employees. As you can see in my visual that I've made here, it doesn't matter if it is vision, strategy, goals, ideas. Everything starts at the CEO, goes down through the managers, and then to the employees. Uh, Traditional strategies of organizing, to me, is a way for companies to control their employees through rules and norms. They have different types of rewards and disciplines, all which rely on good communication. The problem is there are breakdowns in communication due to the setup of the organization. Uh, Decision makers in this setup have to have timely information sent to them by employees that are specialized with their expertise. Uh, what I'd like to go over is some of the problems with communication flow using the traditional strategies of organizing. One that I read about was the filtering paradox. This is how much information should reach upper management and how much information each employee should filter. One of the examples given out of the text was through a company that each supervisor had just 4 employees and there were 7 levels. Now, if each employee sent just one message that was unfiltered to the top, there would be 4,096 messages reaching upper management, which would cause them to have information overload. There's no way they could respond to all of that, may not even know the exact problems with each message. The company I work for, I could not imagine if all of us sent one message a day to upper management. Conway Freight employs 21,000 employees. So you can imagine how much overload would reach our upper management if each one of us sent a message that was not filtered. Some structural barriers to the information flow. A lot of this is just human nature and the structure of the organization. Obviously, people condense and whitewash. They interpret messages differently. One thing that I learned is that messages have no meaning until someone gives meaning to it. So the meaning, depending on how one person takes it, by the time that message goes to another person, it could have a whole nother meaning. That's one of the problems with this kind of flow is everybody has to understand the message the same way. If that message was to go from a CEO to a manager to a supervisor to an employee, it could have 4 different meanings by the time it got through the chain. Some interpersonal barriers to information flow. Communication can lead to mistrust due to status differences. A lot of the time, communication is done in writing. If communication is between different levels of power, that can lead to misunderstood messages. A lot of written messages are more ambiguous than face-to-face messages. That can go both ways. The flow can be hampered from both top to bottom and bottom to top. One thing supervisors can do to help out is de-emphasize status differences. A lot of the communication breakdowns are present in all organizations, but they are more of a problem for organizations that maintain traditional strategies. Like I said, messages change meaning before it reaches the employees. This kind of communication flow does rely on a formal chain of command, but ironically it creates different barriers for successful information flow. Some ways that you can compensate for the problems of traditional strategies. One, people can build into their own communication network. They can find relationships with those that are in the know. If you are a person that's being kind of out of the loop, so to speak, not getting the information, you just simply find people that are in the know. This is called the informal communication network. It's how some people find their information. Another way is they can use counter biasing, where they determine the probable biases of the person communicating with them and adjust their interpretation of the message to compensate for the biases, and then look for other opinions from people with different thoughts. I think that goes on at a lot of companies. People interpret stuff different. You might have a couple guys that believe something should be done one way, and if you're in that network, that's the way you're going to do it. So yeah, I think this is one reason that a lot of larger companies are getting away from traditional strategies, is because of the flow, the way information flows through the network. I think in smaller organizations, this works good. It does, keep the CEO involved, and the managers involved, and employees. They're a little bit closer network, so information does not get twisted quite as bad as it does in some larger networks. Conway Freight, the company I work for, like I said, they employ 21,000 employees, and they are now turning the pyramid upside down. We went to a lean process to where the employee has more say. The CEO and upper management are on the bottom of the pyramid now, with the supervisors and managers in the middle and the employees on top, so that we can gain more information and have the employees have more say in the work processes. So I hope you learned something through traditional strategies of organizing. Again, I think from what I read on the internet and through the book, I think traditional strategies are actually fading out for a lot of companies.